This chart is an indicator I made up and have tracked for a couple years, and it's looking just simply at the sum of the volume in the major 2x inverse ETFs. And the idea behind that is that especially back, I kind of made the indicator in this area, mid 2008, because from May 2008 to July 2008 saw a pretty substantial steady decline in stocks, but there wasn't really any spikes up in the put-call ratios. And these ETFs have only been around for a few years, and the idea was that rather than looking at put options as protection against market declines, maybe traders were using these inverse ETFs as hedges against market declines. And we did see that the volume of that was picking up, which indicated that maybe they were moving into those or trying to kind of hedge downside risk with these. And that has been the case, at least on a short-term basis, at a lot of the market bottoms. You can also look at this as far as when markets are rising and the volume falls very low on these funds. You would infer that there's not seeing a need to kind of hedge downside risk. They're very confident in the market, which will actually tend to occur at market tops. And the reason I'm showing this is because of all the option data I showed from the other charts. It shows that there is potentially a very high level of speculation going on in the options market. There's a large excess of call options being traded relative to put options. And so I thought I'd show this and show that if rather than buying put options, the market was somehow loading up on these inverse ETFs to hedge downside risk, then we should see this volume being very high. But what we're seeing is, despite the typical drop-off in volume around the holidays, which happens all the time, even though we're back into kind of normal trading now, this volume is kind of hovering below or right around the lowest point it's been the last couple years. So there's not any indication from the ETFs, at least in these ones here, that we're seeing any type of hedging going on, which just again adds to the fact that the market as a whole is not seeing risk right now, and inevitably when that happens, risk is about to present itself. Now I'm just going to wrap up here. I'm going to show this chart, which is a chart of insider buying and selling, and this is looking at legal corporate insider selling and buying in stocks. There's certain windows that people within corporations, because of the knowledge they have of the numbers of their business and that type of thing, they can only buy or sell during certain windows. And for the last several months, they have been pretty significant net sellers. And part of the reason I bring this up is, one, the fact that they really know their businesses and they have a good idea of whether conditions are improving or not, and they tend to be more of a smart money indicator than anything, and that they buy their own stock at dips in the market, at market lows, and they tend to sell out their stock as the market is hitting high points and becoming overvalued. But one of the reasons I bring this up is that the last few weeks there's been some things going around the internet, various blogs, on a couple points. One is that, just this last week, from TrimTabs Investment Research, is a organization that tracks money flow from a lot of different sources and how that relates to the markets, with the idea that when there is big money flowing into stocks, that should be bullish for stocks, and when the money is flowing out, that should be bearish. And what they said the last couple weeks was that the market has been kind of rising very steadily and relentlessly for several months, but particularly the last few months, they can't attribute that to any of these typical big money type of institutions. It's not. They can't say it's coming from institutions. They can't say it's coming from retailers. Can't say it's coming from insiders. And so they were speculating, and they said they didn't have any way to show this, but that possibly there is some type of organized government, Federal Reserve type of intervention in the markets where they're using a lot of this liquidity or money to actually prop up stocks. And I don't know if that's the case, but if that is the case, and somehow those type of policies or buying or support for the market comes out from the market, I would have to assume that there is potentially a lot of trouble ahead for stocks if that is the case. Again, I don't know if that is the case, but another point on that is that one blog showed the fact that for the last several months, all of the gains that have come in stocks have come in the overnight futures session. So stocks will close one day, and then from that point till the open the next day, the futures market trades, and stocks will open the next day roughly where the futures are trading at the opening time. And the point of that is that the futures market is a lot smaller than the kind of daytime trading in the equities market. So with a smaller amount of capital or money, whoever is purchasing or driving those futures contracts have been able to lift the market outside of trading hours, and then potentially as soon as the market opens, they're then able to sell stocks during the regular trading hours to whoever else is now participating. The indication might be that some of the large investment banks, or whether there is any type of Federal Reserve or government involvement in this, is that there could be some type of an organized, directed effort at lifting the market during the futures session and then selling during the daytime session. So a way of continually unloading stocks at higher levels during the trading day, and then being able to pump the market back up during the futures session. So again, I don't know if this is significant. I haven't seen any type of back testing as far as what's normal or abnormal, but a few things that I just think there are potentially some things at play here that might not be right, and potentially could end really badly for stocks over the period of the next few months. So point of this whole thing being that if you have a lot amount of money at play, your life savings, if you're getting towards retirement, that personal opinion here is that we've erased pretty much all of the losses from the crash in 2008, and the market is now excessively bullish, right where the crash started last time, and you've gotten a lot of money back if you've kind of been holding stocks. And I would just say, from my perspective, I think you should just be kind of selling into this and keeping what money you have, keeping cash, and looking later this year, next year, a couple years down the road at potentially a much better buying opportunity if things still look stable. But I'm going to wrap it up with that and let everybody kind of make their own decisions as far as what they want to do, but just wanted to kind of give the evidence here that I think there is some extreme level of risk in holding or buying into stocks at these levels right now, for those of you that might have clients or that type of thing that you're recommending, or those of you dealing with your own money. So hopefully this helps, and best of luck.